Alright, I was uploading some videos. I always got this stuff laying around my desk. I don't know, maybe some of you other guys do the same thing, but you always collect your carnage or, parts that were destroyed, taken out, kept, thrown in a box. I used to be really good about that, but then probably the last 10 years I just kind of gave up. I just throw the stuff away, but I did keep some of the cooler ones. This one here is actually it's like a 1993 F350 Ford Power Stroke 7.3. Guy brought it in with a dead miss and took the oil fill cap off. Obviously had 6 tons of crankcase pressure. So pulled the heads off and yep, kind of torched a hole through the piston. Initially it probably cracked first, and then the diesel just so hot and everything else, it just blew a hole right through the aluminum, melted the oil ring. Actually ended up honing the cylinder out and put a new cylinder piston in, and he drove it out of there. This one here, this one was kind of funny. This is a DT466, I believe it was like a 1984-85 model. Farmer friend of mine way up north of here called me one day and said, truck's making 6 tons of racket. So I drove up there, took a look. Yeah, dead miss, 6 tons of blow-by. You want to drive it back to my shop, it's like it ain't going to make it that far. So he towed it down, pulled the head off. I mean, it was just, this is exactly what it looked like when I pulled the head off. The valve was stuck in the piston. That's actually the exhaust valve. I mean, it just beat the piston to death. Kind of neat. The head was just as bad. But took it all apart, cleaned her up, put a works kit in it. As far as I know, he's still driving it. And that's been, boy, probably 10 years now. This one, obviously that should be straight. That's also out of a DT466. I believe this was like a 97, no, it can't be that new, it would be 87, 88 model. We had some flooding in Milwaukee, and I was working for the company that I currently work for now. And one of the underpasses was, flooded pretty high with water. So the driver, and I'm not saying all truck drivers are, stupid, but this particular one is, he took the icing on the cake. The water was all the way up to the, top of the headlights. This was a 1900 S Series International day cab. He drove into the water, and the water's coming up over the fenders, and, wasn't driving real fast. The water intake or air intake on them was just above the headlights, and it sucked water in, and that one died, and we towed it back. So that week I was pulling that motor apart to rebuild it. It was like a week to the day. We had another rainstorm. Same driver, same underpass, different truck obviously. His mentality this time was, well, he went real slow and he didn't make it through. So he figured if he just, wound her tight and hit that water at, Mach speed, it'd make it through. Well, obviously it didn't. It made it maybe, 15 feet further just because of momentum, but all the 6 rods that were in the motor, this was the worst bent one, although the other ones were just slightly tweaked. Blew the head gaskets out. Didn't wreck nothing else. Actually rebuilt that motor too. That one was still running. This happened back in 5/8 of 98. That's when I did that. So I always kept this one. This one's on e-paperweight. In terms of big stuff, I mean, 7.3 piston. This one here is a V8 Murphy diesel. It was in a Northwest shovel. As you can see, it's a steel piston. Cracked it. Scored the hell out of that cylinder. This one here, Dad and I did down a gravel pit. Oh man, I think I was still in high school when we did this one, so this was back in the 90s. So we did that one, pulled it out. We actually had a used engine laying around, so we pulled the kit out because the rod and all that, it's just welded in there tight. We could have pressed it all apart, but yeah. Patched that motor back together, got that one running. And I believe they scrapped the machine and the motor went to Florida and went into a boat. And the latest one, I just haven't gotten around to throwing it away, but you guys that have been watching my videos for a while know that last year I had a 56 Ford in here, all nicely restored. Had a 351 Windsor, sorry. 351 Windsor engine in it. The people that bought it, actually that'd be Lunchbox and his wife, they were told the engine was rebuilt, you know, all professionally. Bought the truck, drove it home. I don't think they put maybe 20 miles on it and developed a nasty tick. And he kept driving it. Obviously what happened here is the bridge for the lifters, the roller lifters, broke on the number 1 cylinder, allowing this one to spin, which didn't let the roller spin, so it just sat there and, you know, sideways in a cam until it wore through, until the needles fell out. The needle fell out, jammed an oil pump, twisted the oil pump off, and then no more oil pressure. So if you go back in my video history, you'll see all the fun with that truck we had last year. Currently it still runs great, they're happy. It'll probably be back this year for wiring because whoever wired it must have loved butt connectors. There's like one every 3 inches. So that's my, you know, paperweights I usually have on my desk. This stuff here I don't know, I might keep it, I might throw it away. I've had a lot of other neat ones over the last 10 years, but I just don't keep this stuff no more. So if you guys, you know, if you get a box full of, you know, old race car parts that blew up that were kind of neat, or, you know, if you got carnage, show it. It's always fun looking at carnage. Later, guys.